where you stand politically, but what they're doing to Hasan Piker, this cannot stand. We must do something. I don't give a fuck. I'm sure Kamala would have done the same thing. I'm sure she would have subpoenaed your former fat ass, too.
Hello, my name is Ashlee, and welcome to my channel. Long time no see. I am still a hot mess. I've just taking care of my new kitty cat Nala and just trying to figure out all of her health issues. She came from a hoarding situation. Has just been a lot, and so I'm sorry for taking a week off. I am out of town today, so I'm talking about Hasan today. So yeah, so here we go. Let's do it. I'm doing this like right in the nick of time. Like literally, I have to get everything ready for her because my dad is gonna watch Nala while I'm out, and then I have to also finish packing for myself, and then she has a vet appointment at 2 p.m. that I also have to take her to. So it's just a lot, and I'm trying to get everything together, and it's just difficult. But you know what? Here we are. If you still want to subscribe or like or comment, that would help me so much. Anyway, yeah, let's just get into it. I'm a hot mess today. So today we're going to be talking about Hasan Piker and Code Pink getting subpoenaed apparently because of their trip to Cuba. Now, this trip to Cuba has been something that has been talked about for like a month now. And the first like viral story was that everyone was getting upset with Hasan because he stayed at a 5-star hotel when he was in Cuba. Now, I didn't know this, but apparently there's only certain hotels that you are allowed to stay at because of America. These are America's rules. Because of the sanctions, they don't want you to give your money to the Cuban government, which is ridiculous. And it's so insane what we have done to that country. It's so insane how much we have bullied them, and to the point where we are literally deciding where people can stay when they go there. And so people were talking about that, and Ryan Grimm, who also went, actually said that was one of the only hotels that could handle having a mass group of people there, because it wasn't just Hasan that went. It was Code Pink, it was Ryan Grimm. There was a large group that went, and so they found a hotel that had room and could handle that many people at once, and then also that was legal to stay at by the American government. And so that's what happened. And not a lot, it was a whole thing, and it was so stupid, and we talked about it. But now it's coming back up because this whole rumor, this whole viral thing started because someone started a rumor saying that Hasan actually did something illegal and like stayed at the wrong hotel. And so now, assuming because of that rumor, they are now subpoenaing Hasan and Code Pink. And it's just, you know, and it's Medea from Code Pink, and apparently she goes to Cuba quite frequently to help with aid. And so it's interesting that they are choosing now to subpoena them, but you know, they're trying to act like they did something either illegal or why were they trying to go to Cuba and give them aid. And you know, a lot of people think that it's because Trump is going after Cuba. Trump wants to do the same thing he did to Venezuela to Cuba, because he's a warmonger, because he's a fascist and he's a horrible person and he's not anti-war. But that is how this all started. And so now they're subpoenaed, even though I think Medea said she did have the subpoena, or they did ask her for some information, but Hasan said he hasn't been formally subpoenaed yet. And this all came about when Fox News did a story on Hasan, and they asked him like, hey, do you have any comments on this? And then like a couple minutes later just posted the story, right? Just published the story. And so he wasn't able to even comment and say, hey, I haven't haven't gotten the subpoena. But the even creepier part is that apparently Fox News is doing like some TMZ shit and following around Hasan and his dog walker and taking pictures of Kaya and Hasan walking around LA. Crazy, psychotic, and it's interesting that Fox News knew that they were being subpoenaed before they knew they were being subpoenaed. And I know we know that Fox News is essentially like an arm of the government. I understand that, or arm of the Republican Party. But it is interesting. They are so ingrained with the power. They are so ingrained with the government that they know before the people who are getting subpoenaed know, which is wild. But we're going to watch some videos of some influencers who are corporate dem influencers who are coming out and they're excited that this is happening to him. And I think that they're in for a rude awakening, because if you think that this is funny, that this is happening to him, just wait until something like this happens to you, because let me tell you something, everyone's on the chopping block. Okay, it's not just leftists, it's not just progressives, it's not just people who go after corporate Dems. It is also you. It is also every single other blue MAGA person that has ever posted anything. They are going to go after them too, because they don't see blue MAGA as different. They called Nancy Pelosi a socialist, okay? They called Kamala Harris a socialist and a communist and a Marxist. They are none of those things. They are none of those things. And so if they think that Nancy Pelosi is a socialist, looking at all these Dem influencers, what do you think they're going to think about you? Like, what do you think that they are going to think about you and what you post? And I think I think it's silly. And if there were any other influencer or any other person that the government was going to go after because of their speech, or was going to subpoena because they went somewhere or because they were advocating for something, I would have an issue with that. I would have an issue with that. And I think that this all started with Mahmoud Khalil. This all started with Palestinian protesters. And when they were cutting down their speech, when they were making it easier to essentially criminalize their speech. And now we have gotten to the point where if you go and you bring aid to another country, or if you are against the American war machine, they are going to subpoena you and they're going to try to intimidate you to not stand up for your values. And so like it's insane to me that there are some of these Dem influencers who don't see that, who can't see that future in front of them and are laughing at this because they still think that like, oh, we should be at brunch instead. It's ridiculous. But anyway, let's watch these videos. So this is the picture of Hasan with Kaya, and he's talking about how they're like essentially like TMZ stalking him.
Hey, Sneak, taking these photos of you? Yes. I talked to some people, and I suspect that they got creep shots of me in the morning as Kaya was peeing before I go to the gym. And then they also got they got creep shots of someone who works with me.
And that's the point that I don't like, because I'm like, that person is not like a personality, right? They're not in the limelight. So why are you publishing them in this piece? I didn't like that part at all. Like Hasan, I still don't like. I think it's creepy. I think it's weird. But his dog walker is not a personality, right? Like they're not online. So why are you like showing them in this Fox News article?
They just parked outside my house.
Yeah, that's weird.
All the way back in motherfucking January, like months ago.
Yeah, that's so weird. That's so weird. But here's the first one. So, and I've seen this guy before. I've seen this guy before. And he's a part of, the reason I've seen him before is because he's a part of Chorus. So he was one of the Chorus people. And it was funny because this particular influencer wasn't named as like a Chorus person, if I'm remembering this correctly. He wasn't specifically named as a Chorus person, but he like came out and kind of like doxed himself as a course person and was like standing up for everyone. But let's see what he has to say. It's really ridiculous.
Look, I don't care where you stand politically, but what they're doing to Hasan Piker, this cannot stand. We must do something. I don't give a fuck. I'm sure Kamala would have done the same thing. I'm sure she would have subpoenaed your former fat ass too.
Okay, and again, let me tell you something. So this is the problem with that kind of rhetoric, because there's another video that was posted that Jasmine Crockett interacted with, because we're really seeing the true colors of Jasmine Crockett right now. But anyway, so he's saying that, oh, I'm sure Kamala wouldn't have subpoenaed you. The problem is this crackdown on free speech happened in Biden's presidency. Like I said, this happened when they were trying to make it, well, not trying, but they did. They made it easier to criminalize and go after people who were protesting for Palestine. That is what happened. And then when Trump got into power, you had people like Mahmoud Khalil and other activists literally being kidnapped off the streets, literally being traumatized because they were standing up for something they believed in. And so it's interesting that this seems to be the theme, the running theme here. Oh, well, Kamala wouldn't have done that. First of all, you don't know that. Because Biden started a lot of this criminalization of free speech, and now because they started it, Trump is running wild with it. That's why when people on the left look at people like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they see enablers. They are enabling fascism, because that is what they are doing. And so you can sit here and say, oh, Kamala wouldn't have done that. First of all, you don't know that. Also, she's not president. He is. And if you think that they are going to somehow spare you at some point, then you're naive. It's just so frustrating, because how do you not see what's going on? It's wild to me that there are so many people that still refuse to see that link, because our cops here in America, a lot of them have been trained by the IDF, okay? And there is an apartheid, and we support that. We have been funding that. And we created an apartheid here in America during Jim Crow. And so if you don't think they're linked, if you don't see the link between that, if you don't see how all of the destruction and how all of the cruelty that we send overseas comes back here eventually, then I don't know what to say anymore. And if you think that this isn't eventually going to affect you, you're wrong. Like, you're just so wrong. So this was the other one. Jasmine Crockett boosts a video mocking Hasan Piker after subpoena from Trump admin and bringing food and medicine to starving Cubans. Kamala would have never. That's what you get for telling people to vote third party. So that's what Jasmine Crockett did. And I just want to say, Jasmine Crockett is really showing her true colors after she lost that Senate seat. Because since losing that Senate seat, she has now been stumping for Wesley Bell. She was at an event with Wesley Bell, and she was essentially like endorsing him. And then once everybody got upset, she kind of took it back and was like, well, that wasn't like a formal endorsement. Okay, she and then she did formally endorse she did a commercial with him, the person running against Al Green, and that person won. Al Green lost, and Al Green has been a huge fighter in Congress. And so I just like I'm just so frustrated with Jasmine Crockett right now. And it's like it is a very frustrating, because like I said, she is showing who she is. She is showing who her donors are and who is currently paying her to sit here and have all these pro AIPAC, pro corporate donor people in Congress. That's what she wants. That's what she's out here doing. So yeah, I'm happy she lost, because obviously this is who she is. Obviously, the money that she's getting means much more than any kind of belief system, much more than than trying to help people in other countries or trying to help underprivileged communities. Because Wesley Bell is not and has barely done anything for the people in St. Louis who are still reeling from the effects of the tornado that we had, like 2 years ago now? What has Wesley Bell done? Absolutely nothing. And so if you actually want to help if you actually want to help people, because that's what all these corporate Dems say they want to do, but then they never do it. If you actually wanted to help people, you wouldn't have sat there and stumped for Wesley Bell. You would have done that for Cori Bush. That's what you would have done, because she would actually help the community, and she has actually tangibly helped the community in St. Louis. When I heard that she did that with Wesley Bell, I was so mad, because listen, I've known Jasmine Crockett is a corporate Dem, right? I get it. I understand. But like a Wesley Bell, out of all people, and it's like, okay, so yeah, this is where you at. So this is where you're at. Like, the money has always meant more to you. That has always meant more to you. And I'm assuming to these influencers, I guess that means more to them too, than actually standing up for what they say they believe in. And now laughing when someone, this is a dangerous situation. Like, this is fascism. That's what this is. This is a dangerous situation, and it's a dangerous situation for everyone, not just Hasan, not just Code Pink. It is a dangerous situation for everyone, and if there are people in the corporate Dem side who think because they're in chorus, or because they're friendly with all these corporate Dems and they get invited to all these fancy parties, if they think that that's going to save them from the fascism of this administration, they are wrong. They're wrong and they're mistaken. And that's the video today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sticking with me and all the things. Love you all so much. Bye.